People believe that the paranormal and science are separate. But what they don't know, that they are both joined together as one. Join Ben and Louisa on their quest as they bring together science, occult, and the paranormal. Only on Occult, History, and Science with Ben and Lou.
Ah, I wasn't expecting me. So, tonight's show, I'm handing it over to these two lovely people. I don't know why I'm trying to point as if Kate sat beside me. This is the interview of Kate bombarding Lou with 1,001 questions. So, I'm going to disappear for the night. Leave you guys to it. Enjoy.
Thanks. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Ben. That was nicely done.
And we've already got Natasha joining us as well in the comments.
Hi, Natasha. She's always there. She's like the #1 fan. Thank you, Natasha. Nice. So Lou, interviewing you. I feel like you're a bit of a dark horse. You don't really give much away, do you, during the shows?
Not
about
really.
much.
No, I tend to let Ben do most of the talking, to be fair, because he knows what he's on about. And I just try and translate what he says for everybody else.
That's really helpful. Really, really helpful. I'd just like to point out to everybody that yes, me and Lou are twinning with red apparel this evening.
Yeah. It is the colour of the day.
Yeah, it was totally unintentional, but it's cool that we're twinning. We're on the same wavelength.
It looks like we're a bit organised, doesn't it?
It does.
Right, the colour for today, we're wearing red. We'll have our hair down as well.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So I have 3 sets of questions. I've got personal, I've got very general questions that you kind of ask people just to get to know more about them, and I've got some other dimension questions which are a bit more supernatural and all that jazz. So yeah. I think I'll mix it up a little bit. I'll ask you some personal and general questions to start off with, nothing too heavy.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope.
No, my heart's racing now.
No, don't.
Panic, I'm on the spotlight.
And of course, Lou, if you don't want to answer anything, you don't have to. That's fine. Just say next question, please, and no questions asked. That's fine.
Okay.
So the first question I wanted to ask you is kind of starting right back at the beginning. Where did this fascination for the spiritual realms begin? Like, how did it materialize?
Well, I grew up in York, and everyone knows York's a very haunted place. The funny thing is that we moved to York because our house that we were living in Nottingham was haunted. So I don't know why my mum decided we'll move to York because it's an even more haunted place, but we did. Yeah, so grew up in York, and even like the primary school I went to is one of the old red brick Victorian primary schools, and it did have a very sort of eerie feel to it, especially like when you're little and you're trying to like walk down the corridor to go to the toilets and stuff by yourself. You're just like, yeah, don't feel like I'm alone here. But yeah, so just growing up in York, really. I was always like interested, knew there was something else there, and you get used to like odd things happening as well. But then I really got more into it properly when I met Ben.
Interesting. Okay. And when you said you going to the toilet in the primary school and you kind of felt a bit, watched or whatever.
Yeah.
What age were you? When did you become aware that, there's not only this world, there might be a spirit realm as well?
what year was it? I think it was about year 4 or 5. So what would be like 9 or 10,
9.
I think,
Mm.
somewhere around then. Yeah, you just start to notice a bit more. Yeah, kind of like
Mm.
just at that school, because it was very small
Yeah.
little school. Yeah, it was just, yeah, like I say, just you just always got a feeling that you weren't necessarily alone.
Yeah. And did your mum tell you why you moved to York? Did she say at the time, like, we're
Not at the
moving?
time, because I was only
Right.
6 when we moved. Yeah, so she didn't say at the time why. Um, yeah, but she just wanted to move to somewhere that was like nice city, historical setting. Yeah, but she
Oh.
apparently felt a bit uneasy in the house that we were in because of this spirit. I don't really remember having much to do with it, much
Mm.
awareness of it, really. I don't think. Yeah.
So you don't have any recollection of having ghosts in your house when you were younger? You're a bit older when
Yeah,
you saw
not
something or experienced something?
not in that house, because I think I felt all right in that house, really. Yeah, but then when we moved to York, um, yeah, the first house we lived in there, again, it was an old terraced house, near to the Terry's chocolate factory. So it was like
Oh.
houses that were built initially for the workers there. Um, yeah, and I remember when it can't have been long after we'd moved in there, there was, and I hated going to bed there. I always felt like there was something in the room, and I'd go to bed. I can't remember like when exactly this started, but I'd go to bed and I'd feel like, when you feel something like pressure, like you've got a
Mm.
cat, so you know what it feels like when a cat sort of goes onto your bed and you feel
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it felt, obviously it wasn't a cat, but it felt like there was something pressing down onto the like duvet, and I used to hide under the cover and cry to sleep,
Oh my
basically.
gosh, that's
But it felt,
terrifying. Poor
and
you.
I don't I don't think it lasted too long, maybe a few months, which at the time was like, really long, because I used to like not look forward to going to bed at all. Um, yeah, I don't know if it's because I didn't react to it. Like I didn't sort of scream,
Mm.
I didn't fly out the room or anything. I just literally stayed under the cover until I went to sleep. And eventually it stopped. So I don't
Okay.
know.
Oh, bless you. And did you stay in that house throughout your teenage years? And
Stayed there, um, and then we moved to another house in a similar area. Um, yeah, it was, how old was I? Yes, questions now. I think it was when I was about 12. We moved out of that house into another house. And this other
Mm.
house, I didn't feel anything at all.
Oh, that's
Like
good.
there was nothing there, and
Yeah.
we were also directly facing out over like the Knavesmire, the race course up there.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, so that was nice. And I remember one time going out there when it was really foggy. I think I might have taken my next door neighbour's dog for a walk, so I used to do that quite a bit. But it was such thick, dense fog. It's just like, this is really creepy. But yeah, up there on the other side of the Knavesmire, where I was, is Tyburn, which is where they used to do all the hangings of like the
Oh my
criminals, and like
God.
Dick Turpin and all the other notorious ones were hung up there.
Wow. And you used to walk your dog there by yourself,
Yeah,
as you do.
it felt fine.
That's good. Oh, that's really interesting. So you've moved quite a bit as well. I didn't realise. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
lovely. Wait, were you relieved when you left that house when you were 12 and you went to this other house? Did you feel relieved?
Um, I think I was okay, because by that point, whatever had been bothering me when I first moved in when I was really little had stopped.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I was all right. I got used to the house, and it was. And to be fair, I've dreamt about it since, which is weird. I've dreamt that I've been back there and I've been back living there. Yeah, I've had a few dreams about that house. I did like it. It was nice.
Hmm. Maybe it's calling you back.
Maybe.
move back.
Yeah, come back to me.
Oh, thank you, Lou. That's really interesting. Really, really interesting. Um, you have a love of horses, don't you?
I
Would you
do.
say it's your spirit animal?
I don't know. Could be one of them.
Yeah,
I don't know, 'cause I don't think you get just necessarily one through your lifetime. You could have a few, to be fair. But definitely
that's
got
true.
more of a connection with them. But I'm an animal person anyway. And I've
Hmm.
got my little dogs, and oh, he's in a strange position now. But yeah.
Yeah. And what's your favorite type of horse, like the breed?
Um, okay, so yeah, I've got to say Cleveland Bays. They're on the endangered species list.
Are they
But now
really?
I do, because we do breed the Cleveland Bays, but as much as I love them, I do also love the Welsh Mountain Ponies, like Welsh section, particularly the section G's and
Ah,
D's. Yeah, but I've got the Clevelands.
yeah. Oh, they're beautiful. I didn't realize they were endangered. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you've got
Wow.
the Cleveland Bays, the Suffolk Punch, and a few of the natives like the um is it the Exmoor or the Dartmoor, or it could be them both, but a lot of native
Mm.
species are currently like on the endangered species list.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
realize. They're such beautiful working horses, aren't they? They
Yeah,
really
that's the
are.
thing. They were bred for a purpose, for a job, and since technology's come along
Mm.
and with the motorized vehicles and the lorries, there's not as much work for them because the way the Cleveland Bays are built, they're big, strong, muscular, very sturdy, and they would have been
Yeah,
used for like pulling the carriages. I mean, the Queen did have some. She
yeah,
had them pulling hers at times. And then in the wars, they would have been used for pulling the artillery as well, because people often think, oh, shires. Yeah, shires would have been used as well, but you've also got, they were more like your draft horses, and they would have been used for like proper heavy stuff. But Cleveland Bays are
mm,
quite, yeah, they're strong, but they're also quite agile as well. And if you,
yeah.
on a side note, if you're breeding with a thoroughbred, you get an excellent eventing horse.
Oh wow, that's an unusual mix. Yeah, that's
Yeah, because then you get
nice.
like the stamina and speed of a
Mm,
thoroughbred, but it's just kind of like a bit chunkier. So instead of having such thin legs and skinniness to them, they've just got a bit
yeah.
more bone about them, we say. And yeah, so they're quite good as
Oh,
competition horses.
I have to look into that. That sounds really interesting. Yeah, they're gentle giants, aren't they? Those types of breeds, the
Oh yeah,
Clevelands
they
and
are. Even the stallion,
mm.
unless he's like, looking for a bit of action, he's so gentle and soft. Yeah, he's been a
Oh,
good boy.
that's lovely. Before I move on to the next questions, are there any comments or any
Just got people
shout outs?
saying hi. So got Jeanette's joined us as well, and
Hi.
Dave, Wandering Willow, and Annette.
Hello
Sorry.
everyone. If anybody has any questions as well, please put them in the comments. Yeah, anybody has any questions. I just want to say a big shout out because I know my dad is watching. So hello David, hello Dad, as always. Yes, so next question. So we've looked at the spiritual world for you, where it kind of began and your history. Now, you said that you're Wiccan, right? No, you
Stop
haven't.
laughing. No.
So that is a
No,
misconception.
I'm
Okay,
not. No, Frida's the Wiccan.
right,
I don't follow the Wiccan religion. I'm just
right.
into a bit of witchcraft. Bit now and then,
Interesting. Okay.
I'm not baby witch either. Shush you.
Lovely. Is there a tradition in your family to kind of delve into um witchcraft and
Well, like my mum was always interested in the paranormal and the odd like bit of witchcraft, but by the time it comes sort of down the generations, um, like generations before were more heavily into like Christianity and the Roman Catholic side of things, just through
mm,
teachings. So it's weird because although there's like aspects that have come down, even like from my grandma, Like, she wouldn't say like, oh yeah, I'm a witch. She'd be like, no, I'm Roman Catholic, blah blah blah. But she is like the most amazing gardener. And you
Hmm.
could say that's a side of, like, what they call the green witchcraft side of things. Like, she can grow anything, anywhere. Yeah,
Oh.
so it's kind of like that's kind of more what's come down. I'm not saying that all gardeners are obviously witches, but
No.
yeah, it's just like you get certain skill sets that are passed down through generations. And before that, her parents, they had like excellent green fingers. Like, they'd have some land at the back of their house that they grew fruit and veg for the market, like, going back to nearly 100 years now. So there's
Yeah.
certain things that come through and you can just tap into them and
That's
go forth.
interesting. I just had this image in my head, like from Harry Potter, you're just like a family of herbologists or something, just like in the
I'd
greenhouse.
like to think that, yeah, I'd like to think that that's kind of like sort of the witchcraft side. If it was to be tapped into that way, it would be like, yeah, we can all be like, excellent herbologists. It just depends on how certain gifts, I suppose you could say, are used.
Yeah, that's good. And do you have a green thumb as
I'm
well?
experimenting with it at the moment.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I have. When I was little, I was not interested in gardening, flowers, or anything like that at all. But as I've got older, it's like, I don't know, something's just changed in my brain. It's just like, right, we're going to try growing stuff. We're going to try
Yeah.
growing our own things, see what happens. I've got my windowsill behind the camera at the moment is lined with takeaway cartons that I'm using to start my seedlings off in. So
Oh,
I've got
that's nice.
courgettes. They've popped up through quite well. So yeah, this year I'm gonna try a bit harder, see what happens.
Yeah, you have to
I've
let
got
us
the
know how you
intention
get
there. I've got
on.
the will and the want. So we'll see if it can actually grow.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. It's
Yeah.
let us know how you get on. That would be good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, what if you don't mind me asking, what do you indulge in to do with the witchcraft side then? So you said you're interested in it, you're not Wiccan or anything, you're just kind of
No,
delving
no,
into certain
I
aspects
don't. I
of
don't.
it.
I don't follow, because Wiccan is more like the religious side of it.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's something I don't follow because they've got more rules, more procedures to follow, rituals to take part in.
Yeah.
Whereas I'll just kind of like, something might interest me, I might suddenly start reading up on that. Something else might suddenly interest me, I'll start reading up on that. And yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. I wouldn't say I'm into any part of it majorly. I'm just kind of dipping into bits instead of going like a straight line of anything. It's just like, oh, I'm interested
Yeah.
in that. So I'll look at something on that way. And like, for example, I saw a book on knot magic. I was like, oh,
Oh.
what is this? And so I was just like having a flick through. It's like, oh, that looks like a good one. That looks like a good one. So then I like practiced some of the like spells out of that, see what would happen, see how it works, see how it feels. Because you might see something and think, oh yeah, that looks really, really good. I'm gonna try it, but it just feels all wrong. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it flows right with you. So you think, I'm interested in it. I can still gain knowledge on that part, but without necessarily practicing that part. And then
Yeah.
something else will come along and be like, oh yeah, try that. And that's kind of how it goes with me, to be fair.
Yeah, I think that's very open-minded. You're open to lots of different things and
Yeah.
trying out stuff. That's good. What do you think about the term white witch then, if somebody called you a white witch?
I think that's quite an old term, in my
Mm,
opinion. When people like to, yeah, I think more in the days when being a witch was kind of a bit of a ooh. And so someone like, it's okay, I'm a white witch, I practice healing and love, and everything's lovely. Whereas nowadays things are changing a bit more, as they are with all paranormal stuff. More things are becoming accepted. So the term white witch, people will be like, not so much white, I'm more in the grey area.
yeah.
I've heard that a lot. But yeah, it's up to people individually. If they want to just say that they are just a white witch, just let them go with it. I'm happy for them if they're happy just doing what they're doing.
Nice. And when did this curiosity start, looking into this stuff?
I always had a little thing in my head since I was little, really.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think like some of the things like me and my mum did on Halloween and whatnot, it would be
Oh,
like, oh,
nice.
it's actually classed as like that. Whereas at the time I just thought, oh, this is fun. Yeah.
What did your mum used to do?
Oh, we used to do a bit of mirror scrying on Halloween.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
bit of that. What else did we do? We did the thing where you peeled the apple with the apple core. You peel the apple, throw the skin down, and it's supposed to turn into a letter of someone who you're either going to marry or is going to be very like prominent like later in your life. But when
Oh,
you're a kid and you're just doing these fun things, you don't really think about it. You're just like, oh, this is fun. What are we gonna do?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, wow. Yeah. So your mum influenced you quite a bit with this side of
Yeah.
things, and yeah. And where did she get that from? Did she get that from your grandma?
I'm not too sure because I
Hmm.
can't imagine my grandma doing that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
Hmm.
I don't know. It might have just been something that something sparked her interest from somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, nice. This is all very interesting. It really is. Um, nice. Right. Like, so let me think about this, which way I'm going to turn. I'm at a crossroads and I'm like, what question should I ask next? I think I'll go to because you were talking about gardening, and I feel like you're a very creative person. Like you're very good at your knitting. Is it knitting, right? And
I do a bit of
crochet, and
knitting. I do a bit of crochet. Yeah.
you're very creative. Could you tell us a little bit more about your hobbies?
Um. phew. So yeah, I do like doing creative stuff. I do like the sort of
Mm,
like woolcraft kind of stuff.
yeah.
So we're part of like Viking reenactment or sort of that era reenactment.
Mm,
And when we're there as something to do, I've learned to do the Viking their style of like knitting slash crochet, which is called nail binding, which
oh,
takes
oh,
a needle, either wood or bone, and it's kind of instead of working from the yarn, you tear off pieces like say about 3 meters long, double
okay.
it up, thread it through the needle, and then it kind of it's just this oh, I'm trying to describe it like a series of knots around your fingers.
I see. Okay.
It doesn't make sense, but if anyone's interested, look it up online. It'll make more sense. There's people that explain it a lot better. But yeah, so I'll do that. I don't know why, but I just like the fiber craft. So that's kind of like what I'll do then. I've made hats, gloves, socks. I do this at events and I get people coming up asking me, and I'll give them a demonstration of it.
Oh,
So
wow.
I like,
You've made some incredible things because it's on your you have a shop, right,
yeah,
online.
yeah. What's
What's
that?
what's it called?
I said the socks are really warm.
The socks are really warm. Yes, because they're made of pure wool. Yeah, the shop's called Slate and Bone, although I've not put anything up there for ages now, have we? But there is stuff up there if anyone's interested in looking. But
Mm,
yeah, it's mostly because that's more of what I do in the summer when we're at the events, and over winter I'll switch back onto like, well, I've gone through a stage of crochet at the moment, just making quite a
oh,
lot of stuff there, and there's my jewellery bits that I make as well, which I can either
mm,
sell at the Viking events or at like um, paranormal sort of events and
mm.
talks that we do. So that's kind of a bit of a crossover.
Yeah, you make beautiful jewelry. I had a necklace commissioned through Lou,
Yeah,
and it was just incredible. So thank you very much.
that's right.
Very beautiful. Nice. Okay. So very creative person. Do you make any potions, or I don't know, I just have
Um,
this image of you like going in your garden and like picking stuff and then I don't know, making
at the
a
moment,
potion.
there's mainly nettles at the moment in my garden. I'm just trying to clear it because, well, we've got like a garden split into two sections. The first section is where the pups run up to, basically,
Mm.
because the second section, it overgrew so much like last year that I just not had a chance to chop it back. So I've been trying to do that. And I just got attacked by nettles, so it's just loads. But no, I do make the odd thing. It's not like I'll be like, oh, I'll just feel like making something. When I make sort of potions or things like that, it's something that I need, something that I feel like I need a purpose to. Like when I went for my job interview a few years ago for this job I've got now, I was like, right, need this job. I'm gonna see what can I make, what will help me along the way in getting this job. And I made a crown of success oil, and so that and it worked. I got the job straight away. so
That's amazing.
But yeah, I won't just like make things. I'll have to feel the need, the pull to actually, like, this needs sorting, or this is going to happen, and I'll make something specific for it.
Yeah, kind of like take it into your own hands and do everything possible to make it happen. Yeah. What type of potions do you have at hand then? Do you have like protection ones? Do you have lucky ones? Or...
No, I don't have anything like that. Like I say, it's more for like when the purpose comes along that I need it for, then I'll make it up like there and then for it. I don't have like kind of a stock of things, really.
That would be awesome. Like, oh, I just go to my cupboard and like that's all the potions lined up.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have. You see some amazing ones online where people have got like their dressers and it's just like full of herbs and bottles and potions and this and that, and it's just like I haven't got space for that. That's probably cost a fortune as well. I'll just like make as and when.
It's so cool. I'm very jealous of Scarlet Witch's little dresser. Like, it's amazing. Yeah, so cool. Good. Nice. Okay, so talking about by the way, I had no idea that the knitting and crocheting you did was a Viking traditional method of doing it. I had no idea.
Not the usual crochet I do. Just the other stuff.
Just the knitting.
Just the you'll see it's quite different. If you go on like the Slate and Bone site, you'll see that it's kind of like it's cute. I say it's cute.
Yeah.
It's style of stuff and but no, the regular crochet is just regular crochet.
Okay, and remind us of the name again for the knitting one for the Viking.
Slate and Bone.
Slate and Bone, but the method that you use
is nail binding.
Nail binding, that's it. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, and how did you get into the Viking events? Was it something that you regularly did?
No, it was him.
It's Ben that got you into it.
Because I came to an event and I saw you at the event and I saw you and the rest of the team at the event, and kind of, looks like fun. It's like to, fight with a sword and everything else. Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. And I'm sure everybody wants to know this. This is the big question. How did you meet Ben and what were your first impressions of him?
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
That's not terrifying at all.
Why? Well, I saw him, like I say, when I was at an event.
And you were just there randomly, like you just decided to go?
Just gone for a day out, just because it was fairly local. But when I actually saw him, it was when I'd gone to another event. This time I've been invited along, and it's kind of dogs kicking me, stretching out. We just kind of saw each other. This is really cheesy. Across the campfire.
Oh, that's so sweet, so romantic.
Yeah. Although it took a while after that before we did actually start going out. Been for a few years.
Yeah. What was your first impression though, like when you saw him across the campfire?
I thought,
on the spotlight, aren't you?
I thought, he looks interesting. Like, know how, when it's dark and the campfire or any fire just kind of sort of throws shadows and oops, that's the dog.
Oh.
Yeah,
Was his eyes like burning?
burning red. No, the shadows were very favourable to his face. Made him quite handsome.
Oh, that's so sweet, so romantic. Oh,
No, he's not
and
embarrassed. He's pulling faces.
what was the first thing you noticed about Ben though? Like the first, so not like your first impression of him, but what was the first thing that you noticed and you were like, oh, either good or bad, can be either.
Oh. It's kind of, I don't know now.
Was it the beard? Did he have a beard then?
No, I was clean shaven.
Yeah, you were clean shaven back then.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I think he had sort of a commanding presence about him. This is before I knew like anything about him. And yeah, he just had like a bit of authority, not authority, but commanding.
was
Just
it like
had presence.
confidence?
Yeah, it just had some sort of directional presence about him.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
didn't see you in uniform that time. No, that was because I didn't see you in uniform. I'd just seen you in your Viking kit.
Oh, that's nice. Right, that's enough about Ben because we're talking about Lou. Okay. So, wow, I've got so many directions to go in now. Let me have a think. I think I'm going to throw out some general questions at you, Lou.
Okay.
What 5 adjectives would you use to describe your personality?
I don't know. It's like a job interview, isn't it?
It is. But it gets worse.
Oh no.
No, we're joking.
I don't know, because I don't like describing myself, to be fair. I'm sure if like Ben was to describe me, what would he say? Like, how do I come
That's
across?
fine. Ben, how would you describe Lou in 5 adjectives?
Loud.
I'm not loud.
She's very soft at heart, honest, caring, loving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. You come
She's got
across
fire
as
in the
very
belly.
loving, passionate.
She's got
Yeah.
fire in the belly.
Yeah,
Not-
don't mess
not
with Lou.
No, that's what you so lovely, to be honest.
Oh.
Fire in the belly.
Aww. That's really nice. All positive ones, all positive stuff. Just don't mess with you. That's the warning.
Right.
Don't mess with Lou.
Yeah.
The next question I'd like to ask you is, do you believe everything happens for a reason?
More so now than I did before, I'll say.
Interesting.
Yeah. Before things would happen, I'd be like, oh, so annoying, or yay, this is great, or but mostly, oh, that's so annoying. But then when bad things do happen, I don't know why I'm focusing on that, but it's just like I'll get wound up and I'll think, there might be a reason behind this. And I start to think that way a bit more. Same for like good things, although when good things happen, you tend to just be like, yeah, you don't think, why is this happening necessarily?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, more so now. For some reason, more I've been delving deeper into the paranormal and things like that, then the more I tend to think there's something going on behind there. I think something might be happening for a reason.
So you've kind of got wiser in your old age.
Yes, I'm a wise old lady. I aspire to be. Maybe.
Nice. What is something small that really makes your day? This says a lot about a person. Something small that really makes your day.
Just like going to be really cheesy. When Ben's here, because he works away in the week a lot, and it's here at the weekend, and when he just like gets up in the morning and makes me a cup of coffee, and that's just like makes me. It always puts me in a good mood for the day. Then it's just like, yeah, it's just the small things.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Take note, Ben. I hope you're writing all this down.
And apart from that, it's when the puppies just jump on me and lick me.
Yeah.
Only just woken up, and that makes me happy. It's like, I'm loved.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
lovely feeling, definitely. And what are you most proud of in your house? But it can't be anything that's living. So something that you're really proud of.
Proud of in my house. It's not living. Don't know.
Maybe something you'll get out if you have a guest over and you're like, oh, you have to look at this, or you have to see this.
That's not a thing to be proud of. It's all about the demon box.
Oh yeah.
No, that's not my party piece. That might be yours. I don't know.
Is there a book?
Might be my collection of books that I've started that I've got now, to be fair, because yeah, I'm getting quite a few of those. And some interesting things. Like, the one book that I do like to show people is the Everybody book of Fate and Fortune, which is just really cool. It's like, nearly 100 years old this book is. But it's just like really interesting. If you're into that kind of stuff, it's really interesting to show people and flip through.
Yeah, could you post it on the page? I'd be interested to have a look at that.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, Spencer with all these big fancy books and the cultology and stuff, and it's just like, who's like they're expensive, fancy, rare, and it's like I've actually got this special book. Oh, I've got the unicorn book as well, haven't I? I've got the unicorn law book as well, which I actually need to start reading. So yeah, that's the special one.
It's a very rare book, isn't it?
That one is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, lovely. So you've got 2 strong books there that you're proud of.
Yeah.
Nice. I know that you like your stones and your crystals, because you've spoken about them before. Are there ones that you wear daily, or ones that are your go-to crystals that help you?
Well, the one I wear daily is on the engagement ring. It is an amethyst, because that one is like, my kind of go-to crystal, and I made sure I got my engagement ring with an amethyst crystal in. So I've always got that one on me.
Beautiful ring. Beautiful. What does amethyst mean? Because I'm not very clued up on crystals.
I always forget, to be fair, because I keep reading up about different ones, and then they kind of get mixed in with my brain. For some reason, my brain won't hold stuff on, like, I don't know what it is with my brain and crystals. It's just like, just get them all. Get all the crystals. They're all you don't need to know all the meanings, except for obviously black obsidian. That one's just like, but that's not necessarily crystal. That's kind of just like proper, like, precious stone with a use. But there's ones that I'm drawn to more. And then when I read up about them, it's like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. But then it just goes out of my head for some reason. I don't know why. So there's always amethyst, moss agate. I do have a tiger's eye necklace and carnelian as well. They're my main ones. Like I say, I read up about them, but I'm rubbish at retaining information on crystals for some reason.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I read it and then I instantly forget. And I'm like, what did I just read? Like,
I'm sure I need to know this stuff. I'm sure eventually it will stick.
Yeah, there's just so many, isn't there? I have I'm really strongly drawn to sapphire. I don't know why, but I love sapphire. Just that blue. It's just, it's incredible. Love crystals. Yeah.
Hang on, Wandering Willow's popped up. Amethyst is a good protector, energy giver. There we go.
Thank you, Willow.
This
That's
is why
great.
I've got this really handy app on my phone. It's a crystal app, so it's just super simple, super
Oh,
informative, and I always just keep clicking on that. But like I said, I read about so many that they kind of end up
yeah,
mixed up, and I can't remember which ones are which. I
yeah,
reckon just
no,
make little cue cards and just keep them like in places around the house, like this is this. So just make it for my main stones, shouldn't I?
yeah.
Really, that's a good
It,
idea.
a good place to have stuff like that for retaining information is either it's probably in the bathroom, so you can have it round the bath or
Mm.
have it near the toilet. So when you have
Yeah,
a moment on the toilet, you can just sit there and
yeah.
read it.
Yeah, instead of trying to read about so many and try and like think, oh yeah, that does that, that does that, that does that, that does that. Like I
Mm,
say, just use my main stones, just write down little cue cards about it, and that way it probably will stick.
yeah. Oh, nice. So top tips for studying also
Yeah,
in, in this interview. Nice. I think I'm going to go into some other dimension questions now. I'll come back to some more general questions in a bit.
yeah,
Um, so these are going to be quite heavy topics. I don't expect
okay,
you to go into it intensively, but
right.
yeah, there's quite a few. I think I'll start with, because we were talking about crystals and potions and all that kind of stuff. What's your take on folk creatures? So I'm talking about werewolves, fairies, all imps. What are the other ones? Yeah, all those kind of mythical, fantastical creatures.
Yeah.
What's your take?
Well, I think that all sort of myths and legends about these creatures must have come from somewhere. And as you know, there's more than out there than we can see, even on this side. Like there's creatures,
Mm,
particularly like insects and like marine life that we don't know about. So that makes more sense that on the other side, there's also going to be all these other little creatures, like
yeah,
usually elementals, they'll come under us. Yeah, so werewolves, that could come from a few different things, really. I don't know if they necessarily existed as we perceive them. But
mm,
for like, imps, gnomes, um, yeah, I think they all come under more of like the Fae, don't they? And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I, I, I
Yeah.
I believe they are out there.
Okay, nice. So open-minded about that stuff. That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. If you had to explain what an elemental is to an old lady, what would you tell her? Like what an elemental is in plain terms?
It's your garden gnome come alive.
Yeah.
No, I just say like, well, if it's an old lady, they're gonna know more about, they'll know about fairies, depending on where they
Mm,
come from, like brownies in the Cornish way. They'll be more likely to know a lot of the old folk tales, really.
yeah,
I don't know, there's
yeah,
just some, I'm probably just generalizing here, but old people know more folk tales and they like the old tales.
yeah,
Um, I don't know if it's just because they got told them more when they were younger because they wouldn't have had like the things that we've got, like the internet, TV. So
mm,
like fairy tales and stories would have been passed down a lot more.
yeah, that's true. And then so an elemental is just a spirit
Well,
or
yeah, you can call it a spirit. It's a spiritual creature that's, yeah, just on the other side that sometimes we are able to see
mm,
in our
so not
dimension.
human.
No.
Okay, nice. And what's your view on aliens? Talking about Faye, now we're going to aliens. What's your view?
I believe they're out there. Not that interested in meeting them.
Okay,
They're
fair
not
enough.
my thing. They're not my thing. They can, other people that are well into them, they can go knock on their door. They're out there, just
Yeah,
don't come to my house, please.
okay. And your take on the pyramids? How were they built?
So yeah, this is where I know what
But
Ben's saying
without
is
Ben, without Ben.
because obviously Ben puts forth his arguments for this, saying, "Oh, there are records written that show the labour
Mm.
force that was used and blah de blah de
But
blah."
what's your like? What's your gut tell you? Like, what's your personal view like without all the info and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Go on.
Sorry, I'm just going to butt in. Everyone's entitled to their own beliefs and ideas. Just makes me sound like I'm like total like.
This is how it works.
This is how you believe, and that's it.
Well, no, it's just you bring information forward, so it's hard to ignore the information that you sort of bring, especially when you've actually been out there and seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, everyone's entitled to their own belief, but when you say there are these things, but yeah, so I think it's a combination between the humans and between like another sort of race of beings. Because if you go back in time, there was like they worshipped like all the different gods. You've got the Egyptian gods. You go back further, you've got the Anunnaki as well, and
Yeah.
they're all very big beings, we'll say, and with a lot of power, a lot of knowledge, and I think that kind of like work together, not so much like they demanded humanity make these things for them. I think it was more of a joint of knowledge and skills to make them.
Yeah, I think that's a good take on it. Yeah, I see a lot of that in my view as well. Yeah, nice. Have you had any life or death experiences?
Not really.
No near-death experiences or
So, I mean, I crashed my car and it did like a double rollover,
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
came out of it completely fine.
Wow.
But that was when I was just like, when it was rolling, and I'm just like scrunched up in a ball, just waiting for the pain, and it never came. And then it's just like, then the car rolled over and was like, go on, just make it right. And it rolled over right. And then it's just like,
Oh my gosh,
no
Lou.
pain,
I'm so
nothing.
sorry.
The only thing that happened, because obviously I got checked out by an ambulance crew when I was there. The only thing that happened when I stepped out the ambulance, a thorn from a thorn bush just scratched me on the leg, and that was the only injury I got from it. My car was a total write-off. But yeah.
Wow, so lucky. Oh my gosh, Lou. Were you the driver? Wow. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
bless
I've not long
you.
passed the test.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
can laugh about it now,
scary.
it's fine.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, never touch wood.
Yeah, touching
Never
wood.
been in some sort of like actual life or death situation.
That's good. Thank goodness. I'm going on to the more paranormal side now. Could you tell us some shocking or some surprising experiences that you've had with certain spirits that's kind of stayed with you or is super unexplained, anything like that?
What can I say? What shall I say?
There's probably a lot, I know.
I'll go to one. I think it was like the first public paranormal event I went on with Ben. It was with a fairly local group to Nottingham. Yeah, we were in a room. Like, me and Ben had been split up because the lady had said, "You two need to split up for some reason." I was like, okay.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know why. Yeah, she wanted to split up. So Ben was at one end, I was down at another end. And we were in a room around kind of like a big rectangle table. It was in an old Victorian, was it the Victorian school, the first one went on? Yeah. Sorry, because we went on an Edwardian school one, like not long after. So it's like, which one was it? No, it's the Victorian one. And yeah, so we all stood around. I think we were all holding hands, just being all quiet, focusing on the energy, trying to call spirit forth and stuff. And I looked over my shoulder. I was looking towards the next person. You know how when sometimes you feel someone might be there?
Yeah.
And I looked and I just saw this spirit there.
Oh,
I sound
no.
crazy now. But yeah, I just looked over and the spirit basically just peering over my shoulder, like looking in like, what are we doing?
Oh my gosh.
Like, I
What
think we're
did it
supposed to be
look
getting
like?
straight to the centre here, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was quite strange. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. But it was
Was
just
it
like,
like a child spirit or an adult or
no, it was adult size, like up
right?
here, just sort of peering over. And I'm surprised that the woman next to me, whose hand I was holding, surprised she didn't say like, "Oh, you okay?" Because I'm sure I jumped. And you know, if you're
Yeah.
holding someone's hand and you jump, they're going to feel you jumping. But I must have held that in really, really well.
Oh my gosh, that sounds horrific. Do you not have nightmares about that? I would.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
We communicated with the spirit afterwards, and yeah, it's all good.
Was it a nice
The image,
spirit?
it's still there in my head. Like I'll never forget that.
Yeah. Was that the first time that you'd seen like a full-bodied apparition or?
Um, First time in that much clarity.
Hmm.
But it's just
I
like,
see.
oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, like right in your face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because before then I've mainly seen sort of the hazy shapes, like the hazy forms.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but this was just clarity right there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And so what's your take on what happens after you pass? What do you believe personally is going to
I
happen?
believe that we cross over to the other side.
Hmm.
Um, you can come back and forth, you know,
Like a
to visit,
visitation kind
yeah,
of
visit loved
thing.
ones, that kind of thing, keep an eye on people. Yeah, but cross over to the other side and then stay there for however long until you're ready to come back again and be reincarnated as whatever.
Hmm. That's interesting. I did hear the other day that when it gets to the point when none of your relatives remember you, that's the point that you're reincarnated. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, up to like to a
Hmm.
certain extent. Yeah, because you'd have nothing to really come back for necessarily unless you just felt like it.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think it's up to the spirit themselves, like, you know,
Hmm.
if you want to be reincarnated now or do you want to just wait a bit,
Right.
ideally. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get there.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. What about those spirits that people say are not able to pass over or, they're very, very old, so obviously they haven't been reincarnated, they're just kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really get that. Is it that they just don't want to go to the other side, or are they stuck? Is it just, oh my gosh, what's the word for the stone tape theory? Is it just like
Oh yeah,
the,
the residual.
that's the word.
Yeah.
Is it just residual?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your
Well,
take on that?
there could be residual hauntings. You do get them a lot, and that's like I say,
Yeah.
your stone tape theory. Um, I did see Richard Felix give a talk on that, like the other
Oh,
year. That was really interesting. And then he got some of his kit out, like scientific kit, that he was able to sort of show his theory
yeah.
to everyone. So he spoke about it, and then he's like, right, so we're going to do this, and then in theory this will happen, and we shall see. So that was really
Oh,
interesting.
wow. Yeah. And
Um,
Richard Felix, he was the historian for Most Haunted, wasn't he?
yeah, and yeah, he runs Derby Goal now, so
Wow.
that was where he did it. That was really interesting. That was good. That was. But yeah, for other spirits, sometimes I believe they can get trapped, they're stuck at a
Mm,
location, or they might have got attached to something and can't separate to cross back over. So they might need a bit of a
yeah.
helping hand. You don't know, each
Mm,
case is kind of individual, really. Best thing to do is just
mm,
go and see what happens when you actually try and make communication with them.
yeah.
See if they're able to tell you
And
what's happened.
yeah, and I know that you're into investigating. I love watching your lives because you go live on Facebook
Yeah.
mostly every Saturday, isn't it? Or every Saturday, like you can do.
Yeah,
Um,
when we're free, when if the weather's all right and we're free, because obviously
yeah,
reinvent, do other things as well. So we're not always able
Yeah,
to go
sure.
out. But
Yeah, no, they're really good. I just wanted to ask, what's your favorite piece of equipment? Because I know that you like the old school, you know, you're not really into your apps and your technology, like you are an old school investigator, which is amazing.
yeah,
What are you into though? Like, what's your go-to piece of equipment?
usually dowsing rods.
Oh wow,
Do you like them?
nice.
Yeah, I find depending on where you're investigating, depending on the spirits, depending on if they've had interaction before, there's a lot of dependings on. Spirits, unless they're at a regularly investigated place, usually indoors kind of situation, they might not necessarily feel comfortable with or have an understanding of like the more modern technology. Like the apps, like everything
Yeah, they
beeps
could
and
be
flashes.
scared of it as well. They
Exactly.
could
So
be
unless
scared.
it's really, like say, your popular locations that people go to, like your indoor ones, which have people week in, week out, then because I tend to go out
Sorry, I
more.
just saw Ben in the background.
Sorry, guys. You know the time.
Sorry,
You
Lee.
start yawning
I
around the time anyway.
was really trying to be professional. I just saw Ben, his mouth wide open.
Oh my god.
Oh, sorry, Lou.
No,
Please
you're all right.
continue.
So yeah, I find that dowsing rods is a simpler form. They're made from copper, the ones I use, which is supposed to be able to conduct energy a lot better anyway.
Oh
So
wow.
hopefully, like the spirits will find it easier to manipulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and rather it being something beepy, flashy, scary, that like
Yeah.
say they might not know what it is, then it's kind
It's
of
sort of on their terms, isn't it?
yeah, it's a
Doing
bit
that.
easier for them. I like to think, and a little bit less intimidating. So
Yeah.
we do tend to get some like fairly decent interaction with them, both on the lives and when we're just doing other investigating on events.
Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, I do like using my crystal pendulum.
Oh,
That's more
okay.
for,
Yeah.
I tend to use that more for indoors though, because
Yeah.
it's just easier to set up, especially like if you're on a table, then you can just rest your arm. Whereas if you're outdoors and you're trying to use it, I mean, I might do now and again, but you try not to let your arm shake or your hand shake. Whereas if you're indoors, you pop it on
Yeah.
the table, that's a bit easier. But no, I'm
Especially
open
when
to it.
it's cold and
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
if it's cold, we're not using anything that we're holding on to.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it's like, right, we're just going to use an app on that one.
Yeah.
App and we've got some like silent, like they're not REM pods, but they kind of work in a similar way. But we had them modified so it would take the beepiness out. So it's just a light little flash when they come in contact with the aerial.
I see.
So that's quite good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do experiment with like a couple of apps just for the sake of experimenting, really. See if you do happen to get anything through. I'll never say like, oh, don't use apps, don't do this, don't do that, because it's the whole point of an investigation. You're trying with different things, different techniques, you know.
Yeah.
You've got
Yeah.
things that are there, they've been made. Some of them, yeah, they're completely rubbish. Like there is a Ouija board app, which I would never use on an investigation.
Oh. Yeah,
I
how
would
does
never
that
use it at all
work?
because that is just like, from what I've seen, you just kind of put your finger on it and the little planchette kind of just squirts away from where your finger is. It's like sensor through the screen kind of thing. I don't
Yeah, that
know.
doesn't
It's
seem
like,
very
yeah,
legit, is it,
with
really?
that's really not made for actual investigations. But
No.
other ones, like, yeah, no harm in giving them a go. But some of them, they do get quite expensive. And it's just like, do I really
Yeah.
trust it enough to, is it worth spending £20 on an app? I don't
Yeah.
know.
What's your take on the Ouija board, like a proper one?
Yeah. No, I'm quite happy with them. It depends on who you're on the board with. Because we've been at public events and it depends on the energy of the other people. Like if they're very sort of like, oh, it's rubbish, I don't want to use it, blah, 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 then you've not
Not gonna
got kind of like
work.
the right flow of energy. Because I think
Yeah.
with anything, like even when you're just standing in a circle, it's the people that's there who've got like more of a certain type of energy flowing around, then the spirits can use that. So I believe it's a similar concept for a spirit board. If you've got kind of like the right flow of energy, like take away really negative people from it, the ones who are just like, this is rubbish, not going to work, because they're going to be more of a blocker of the energy, and they're going to make it stagnate. But I'm quite happy to use spirit boards and see
when it's
what
done
comes
properly with the right people. And
yeah,
that's nice. Have you ever done past life regression?
not yet.
No.
I want to, but I've not done it.
That's exciting. Okay. Yeah, I'll look forward to hearing about it when you do it. Yeah, that's cool. I just have a very few questions left because I know time's getting on.
Yeah, we're going on an hour now, but we can go over a little bit, it'll be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've just got one or two questions left.
Yeah.
Do you believe in star signs, horoscopes, all that kind of stuff?
To an extent, yeah.
The
ones that you get in the papers, magazines, on the interweb for, like, you know, your general ones, it's just like, that's too general. But when you look more at the actual charts and go into it yourself, like with the books, then it can come up with some interesting information. It's just like, actually, yeah, that's more relevant than necessarily what's out for the mass kind of thing, if you actually work and look into it yourself. Yeah,
nice. And the last question is, do you have the ability to see auras? Because I remember you talking once about colours and auras and things.
Not really. It has to be like certain situations, and it's easier with certain backgrounds as well.
Yeah, if it's a white background, right?
Yeah, then it's a lot easier. Yeah, it's something that you can like train yourself to see better. But yeah, so sometimes it's not necessarily like a bright color, it'll just sort of like be just a little bit of one that I'll see, but not necessarily all the time, or people and stuff.
Yeah.
No, be like...
So you do believe in the auras and they are different colors and that, but just the ability to
actually
see
seeing
them.
it myself, very rare. Very rare.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Well, I don't think I have any other pressing questions. I don't know if there's any in the comments.
Have a look. Jeanette's just put about the dowsing rods. Seems to have more connection with dowsing rods. Yeah, Jeanette's good with dowsing rods as well.
Yeah, she is.
Irene's put comment up. I think when we were talking about the pyramids, the gods not from our world gave them knowledge, and it was not from our world.
Yeah, I definitely didn't have the means to do that, I don't think, at that time. It was quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Lou. I hope everybody's enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed it, Lou. I hope you enjoyed all the questions. It was a pleasure to interview. I think it was quite tame. There was no...
Yeah, it just had me thinking back to, like, you know, when I was younger though, and it's just like, oh, trying to remember the details.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. I'm saving all my horrible questions for Ben, so yeah. Thank you. And the upcoming shows?
We've got Thursday is divination, and I'm going to be looking at automatic writing.
Nice.
Friday, we need to speak to Damon. There may or may not be a show because we are traveling. Me and Ben are traveling to a location because we are going with Wednesbury Paranormal to their Wilder Hope Wild Weekender, where we've been invited to give a talk. So that'll be good. I don't know if there'll be a show next Sunday because we might be traveling back, or we might be back, who knows. So we'll just put updates on the page.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Lou. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
All right, thank you, everybody, and we'll say goodbye. You say bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.